friends, this week we're going to be learning about poetry and figurative language. Oftentimes they're used together. Well, what is poetry? Poetry can be written to entertain, to describe, or inform a person about a certain topic. It can be short or long. It doesn't always have to rhyme. There are many different types of poems. It can be written about any topic. Poetry often expresses feelings, and people who write poems are called poets. Here are some of the different elements of poetry. A line is a group of words arranged in a row. Stanzas are groups of lines within a poem. Poems often have rhythm and rhyme, a pattern of stressed syllables or rhyming words. Repetition is lines or words that are repeated in a poem, usually to show they are important. When reading poetry, readers think about these things. Who is the speaker or the narrator? What does the speaker want, think, or feel? If the poem does rhyme, what is the pattern? Some of the patterns you might see in a poem are the AABB or ABAB. If there are characters in the poem, what do they want, think, or feel? Is there a problem and a resolution within the poem? How does the setting affect the speaker or the character? How is the poet creating a picture in your mind? Hint, hint, it's usually figurative language. And we're going to talk about that on the next slide. Well, what is figurative language? Figurative language are words or expressions that mean something different from their literal meaning. They're often used for comparisons or dramatic effect. Some different types of figurative language are similes, metaphors, personification, hyperbole, alliteration, onomatopoeia, or idioms. A simile is a comparison of two unlike things using like or as. An example of this is, she was as busy as a bee. Metaphors are comparisons of two unlike things that does not use like or as. An example of this is, the new baby is a bundle of joy. Personification is giving human qualities to non-human things. The stars danced in the night sky is a good example of this. Hyperbole is an extreme exaggeration. An example of this sounds like, oh, I have a million things to do. Alliteration is the repetition of the same initial consonant sound. A good example of this is, Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. Idioms are phrases that mean something different than they say. A good example of this is, it's raining cats and dogs out there. Onomatopoeia are sound words. Some examples of these are whoosh, buzz, and ring ring. This is a poem titled Everything on It by popular poet Shel Silverstein. I asked for a hot dog with everything on it, and that was my big mistake, because it came with a parrot, a bee in a bonnet, a wristwatch, a wrench, and a rake. It came with a goldfish, a flag, and a fiddle, a frog and a front porch swing, and a mouse in a mask. That's the last time I ask for a hot dog with everything. Now, what do you think? Did you hear any of the elements that we discussed today? Any figurative language? Did the poem rhyme? How did Shel Silverstein create a picture in your mind?